The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the David Pakman Show, the end of week one in high definition. I think each day has gotten hopefully a little bit better anyway, if not drastically better, at least not worse, I think is fair to say. A bunch of different legal stories to talk about. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked about the Boston Marathon bombing and Jahar Tsarnaev. He now has, yesterday, had an appearance in court. Appearance didn't last very long. He pled not guilty, and he was there just only 7 minutes. He stood up, and he was the one who individually said not guilty to each count. His arm was in a cast. His face was swollen. Some people, Lewis, making a big deal out of the fact that he pled not guilty, but this is completely standard practice. You initially plead not guilty. It's very likely or certainly possible within the realm of possibility that there will be some kind of a plea deal before this actually goes to trial. Not really a surprise to anybody the way this went.
No, of course not. This is always how it goes.
Also, the thing I want to focus on is there was actually a group of people outside who were holding these signs that said "Free Jahar" and chanting "Free Jahar." And when I say that they were protesting, I guess it wasn't really a protest. It was more that they were there in support of Jahar Tsarnaev, which I have to say I don't really fully understand. I mean, that some of the signs claimed that Jahar is innocent, that this was all an elaborate conspiracy, the type of conspiracy that we've debunked at least a couple of times on this program, Lewis. And there was one individual, Lacey Buckley, 23 years old, who was interviewed, and she said she traveled from her home in Washington State to go to Jahar Tsarnaev's arraignment. And she said, I've never met Jahar Tsarnaev, but I believe he's innocent. I just think so many of his rights were violated. They almost murdered an unarmed kid in a boat. He is he is not guilty. He is innocent until proven guilty in the legal sense, right, Lewis? But that's very different than saying that he just had no involvement whatsoever. There's a difference between legal guilt by the letter of the law on specific charges and being innocent, colloquially speaking. And I don't know if these people really don't get that, if they're conspiracy theorists, if they have something personal about Jahar that strikes them as particularly compelling. But I have to admit, I do not get traveling across the country to hold a Free Jahar sign.
It's complete insanity. If this person followed things at all, they'd know that he admitted to everything already in interrogations. And perhaps they think that is all part of this huge conspiracy. I don't know what else it would be. Usually people like this who join fan clubs of criminals like the Tsarnaev brothers are usually pretty disturbed people who are kind of outcasts in their societies where they live.
All right, so let's tackle that for a second, because I got two emails and I want to address them. And I know that this may be controversial for a number of reasons. Should someone we've talked about terrorist watch lists and surveillance, and we've talked about whether we broadly speaking agree or disagree with that type of surveillance. Putting that aside, all else being equal, for all the different things that can get you on a so-called watch list or on the radar of authorities, if you show up to Jahar Tsarnaev's arraignment with a sign that says "Free Jahar," should that get you on a watch list? And again, all else equal, regardless of whether you think these watch lists should or shouldn't exist, compared to other types of things you could do, is Free Jahar the type of thing that should get you on a watch list?
I would say yes. Of course, I don't know what really being on a watch list entails in terms of surveillance and losing your rights. But these are people you need to keep an eye on. And if anything, the parents and relatives and friends of these people should keep a very close eye on them, because there is clearly something very wrong with them.
So you're not saying the relatives should be kept an eye on, but the relatives of those who are fetishizing Free Jahar, they should keep an eye on their relatives, you're saying?
Right.
Wow, Lewis calling for family surveillance. All right, there's going to be a lot of reaction to that, I'm sure. Send us your thoughts. I'm ready for them.